The Sikha of the Eda brings out an Akuda, what the Rebbe has been speaking about, let's say, from the Sikha of Tovei. The Sikha of Tovei, Tov Shalom Aleph, the Rebbe spoke about the Sheirush of Neshama Yisrael as it's above Torah, and that we today, in our Avodah today, can actually develop the Shaykhs, tap into our Shaykhs, to the Metzias of Neshama Yisrael, as it's above Torah. That's what the Rebbe explained in the Sikha of Tovei. This Nekuda was explained again in different forms in the Sikha of Shabbos Bereshis, etc., etc. And now we have in the Sikha of Ve'eda, which gives a very clear understanding into what the Rebbe Hageret in Tovei can be sagen, and also the Nekuda was what I'd like, what Mitzvah Hashem how to bring out over here is that Miret wegen an Avodah as mi Yidden, mir Sidim, we kehere feiern, soll überkehren die ganze Welt und zu sein, die Skalas Hagula mit der Besamidya Shalamayla mit 770, getchies am Mese von allen Yidden, alles kehere feiern und sie wird sich, it's all going to happen with the Admosai, how the Rebbe says in the Sikha of Tovei, or the Rebbe says in the Sikha of Toshin on Beis, mit öffnen der Augen, etc., etc. With this, the ganze Metzies geht es beiten. So, these Mamazbir, al Piseichel to ourselves, how it's going to work. Mit darf doch einmal ein Scheiche zu dem, that's darf leben mit dem. So, auf leben mit dem, doch jeder darf verstehen, wie das arbeitet. So this Nekuda is brought out very clearly in the Sikha Ve'eda, and the Nekudas HaChidush, if we can say, in this Sikha Ve'eda is that anyone who has learned the Sikhas of the Rebbe for all the years knows that the Matan Teda at Ufgeton HaChidush, and there's no difference between Elyenim and Tachtenim. The Bittel Gzeira between Elyenim and Tachtenim was at Ufgeton by Matan Teda. And this is based, versteht sich, auf the Torah, but the Rebbe took this Nekuda and expounded upon it. In every Sugya Nigla, how the Rebbe brought it across with this Nekuda, the Chilik, from the Fnei Matan Torah, after Matan Torah. The Rebbe gemacht, behapig gewinnt die ganze Welt mit dem Nekuda, the Chilik, from Fa Matan Torah nach Matan Torah. Nevertheless, in this Sikha here, Ve'eda, kommt der Reis, the Rebbe says, will so wissen sein, as Avram Avinu, as he says, Bechlal, in the Sikhas heißt es, as Avram Avinu, mit alle ganze Meile, mit der Ovis, mit all der Meiles, haben nicht gehad die Meile von Matan Torah, ist da in der Sikhas, Rebbe says, nein, Avram hat sich gedacht, haben Matan Torah. Egmen, and sie haben Matan Torah. This Rebbe brings out in this Sikha. Now, this Nekuda, as Avram Avinu didn't need Matan Torah, is not, it's not mentioned, it's not in this Sikha the first time. It's mentioned in Drushim of Chassidus, is this word. Avram Avinu was above Matan Torah, this is word. But the Nekuda was brought out over here in this Sikha Ve'eda. And in the Sikhas, other Sikhas, Sikha Vayete, Sikha Vayishlach, and other Sikhas, where there was what? The Yamel, which was printed in the Kuta Sikhas, etc. As Mitzad Avram Avinu, where he's above Matan Torah, is nicht pshat. As Avram Avinu for himself was above. Avram Avinu was above everything. No. Be'em the Metzias from the Welt was ready full. Bestachtes Ashlemus. Mit Avram Matan Torah. Aufgetan die Dire hier. Aufgetan a Dire betachtenim. Made Dire betachtenim. Und like it says by Yaakov Avinu, wir können schon haben Moshiach. Avram mit Sidei oder Yaakov mit Sidei, they can schon haben, they have Moshiach. They already did the whole Dire betachtenim. The word is, and this is the whole word which the Rebbe is bringing out, in this Sikha and in other Sikhas in this Kuf of Tov Shein Shalom Beis, are taken by the Ovis. They by them have accomplished the Dire betachtenim. Aber we Yidden, regular Yidden, haben nicht dem, as we're going to discuss, that's the Nekuda, Haben nicht dem Mai mit der Matze von der Office, als bei uns soll sein, die Welt ist fertig in der Dire Betachtenem. Sie kennt da sein, dass da ein Jid, was steht in den höheren Tagen von der Weide, ein zweiter Jid steht in den niedrigen Tagen von der Weide. Aber sagen, es ist da ein Jid, was bei ihm ist da, die ist nicht schlimm geworden. Die Tag des Schlimmes hat gewonnen von Dire Betachtenem. Und sie darf nur sein, die Gula Bapel, das Lechere ist nicht da bei uns. Das ist bei der Office gewesen am Metzies, was mit dem Saat, der Räume müssen mal los haben. Weil sie, die gewähnt, die Welt ist fertig, die Betachtenim, und ich dachte noch, haben Moshiach Bapel. Von deswegen, die Moshiach nicht gekommen mit bald reden. Ist von dem Land, da ist der Rebbe, und geht zu unserer Weide heint, als bei uns heint steht jeder Jid, in der Matze von der Office. Was mit der steht in der Matze von der Office? Bei alle Jahren uns geheißen, hat das, was wir bei Office, bei sie, was gewähnt die ganze Welt gerät für die Gula, ist gewähnt mit Zad, ein Inje mit Juchat bei der Office. Aber nicht bei Stammjiden. Stammjiden sind gewähnt in Golos. Und mit Fedisch kann man nicht bringen die Gula mit der Form als Schuss, mit Meile, mit Afdavn und Betten. Mit der hier für die Office, das bringt der Rebbe die Ingen in sicher da und die andere sicher. Heint ist es bei jeder Jid ist kein Uftan bei sich, bei ihm soll sein die ganze Welt great für die Gula und man darf noch haben die Gula Bapel. So, ist das in der Gula, was redet sich in dem sicher und in andere sichers? Von dem Zeit. So I just want to bring out, I want to bring out what this Nukuda is. Because I have a Kapelle, aber mehr uns, Appelle die Kapelle sagen, als bei der Office mit Zad in Matzovom jemmelt, ist gewähnt nicht nur, sie sind gewähnt Beschleimes. Und das ist aber Poshet. Nur die ganze Welt ist gewähnt Beschleimes. Und für was ist nicht gekommen, die Gule? Mit Zad eine gewisse Gseire von der Eberste, was hat nicht kann. Eine Gseire von der Eberste, wie bald euch teitschen. Aber mit Zad seht die Welt gewähnt gerät von der Gule. Und das ist der Linie, was in der Gehen in Aveda Bapel heint. So the Nukuda is like this. So Masma sein der Indien will take a sich in Chelik Hey, Vayigash Beis. The Sicha Oisei. The Sicha Vayigash Beis is a very astrologic Sicha. Oimek, Tifo Oimek, V'chulu. That's Hashem will try to explain it in Poshta Asius, Wifel Simheglech. And then we'll see the same Nukuda will take it and apply to the Sicha V'Eira. The Sicha Vayigash only speaks two Madregas. Sicha V'Eira speaks three Madregas. Once we understand the two Madregas, which is being discussed in the Sicha Vayigash, we'll be able to understand quite simply the three Madregas that state in the Sicha V'Eira. So the Nukuda is like this. The Sicha Vayigash, the Sicha the Rebbe brings from Samach Vov, as jede mitzvahs, Misiachs ist alle Atzmus, Mitzvahs haben wir Scheiches mit Atzmus, wenn wir tun eine Mitzvah, wir tun eine Mitzvah with Mamshech Atzmus. Now, Pseida, heißt es, every time we're doing a Mitzvah, we're Mamshech Atzmus. Now, let's speak to ourselves for a moment. When we do a Mitzvah, do we see Atzmus? We don't see Atzmus. Was heißt es? We're Mamshech Atzmus, aber with Mamshech Atzmus behelem. Sie behelem, the Hamshocha von Atzmus, which is happening now through unsere Kimat Teira Mitzvahs, is behelem. Und la'oset love, it's going to be in a skala. Jetzt, lass verstehen, was meint es, als mit Mamshech Atzmus, Mitzvahs Mamshech Atzmus, oder ob es sie behelem. Is the Rebbe bringt a Ruiz in the Sicha da, when we say, the Mamshech Atzmus behelem, it doesn't minimize the value of the Hamshachas Atzmus. L'cheire, mit Mamshech Atzmus, ob es behelem, it is l'cheire, it is nicht der Ingen, as is noch als behelem. Is das der Rebbe Masbe, was ist das ist der Hasboras Ingen, was in mir feirisch die ganze Trask mit Mamshech Atzmus. Was ist es mit der ganzen Trass? Wie kann man sagen, dass sie mit der ganzen Trass alle Cheres ist behelem? Die Wort ist, weil Atzmus bei uns Nivroim, Gilui und Helm ist two opposites. Black and white is opposite. Yeah? Yes and no are opposites, right? Right and left are opposites. So Gilui and Helm is two opposites. B'meila, eben Atzmus is behelem, it is nicht dieselbe Sach, wie Atzmus soll sein begolli. Wie Moshe Mashiach Atzmus soll be begolli. Now is behelem, it's nicht dieselbe Sach. That is bei uns Nevroim. Aber bei der Eibishter steht Heche von die Gdorim von Helem und Gilui, es nicht Mugder, es nicht Mugbel in die Chilik von Helem bis Gilui, von Helem und Gilui. Therefore, mit Zadem Eibishtem, Afilo in Zman HaGolos, when we're doing mitzvah and the Hamshochas HaAtzmis is behelem, mit Zadem Eibishtem, it doesn't minimize the value of the mitzvah at all, because the Helem by the Eibishter is no different than Gilui. But Melem mit Zadem Eibishtem, he's here but Shleim is a Gilui even when it's behelem. The Helem is nicht Meilem of him. This is what the Rebbe's Masbe, das Bora which steht schon früher. Noch dem Rebbe adds, it's nicht nur Pshat, as the Helem is nicht Meilem of the Eibishtem, verkehrt. The Helem is Megale dem Eibishtem. Was der Helem Megale der Eibishter? Das war ganz Apostel Svara. Was? We're speaking here about the Eibishter. And what are we saying? By the Eibishter, Helem Megilu is no different. No difference. Is a poshet, dover a poshet. By the Eibishter, by Atzmus, by Metzias Atzmus, there's no difference between Helem and Gilui. Is ein Zach is bor. From me, the Eibishter is in ganzen behelem. Was bei mir die Eibishter ganze behelem? Bei mir, it's a dover hamuchlet, as Helem and Gilui two opposite. Dort kommt Teres Achsidus und sagt uns, als beim Eibishter is Helem and Gilui no difference. The Helem is the Shemaim of him. Zogen mir, Talmud shall tell me Metzias that I'll just use the Lashon of the Chekrim. The Lashon of the Chekrim, but the Zogen as so Reichev ve'eino Reichev. So the man is riding, and a man is not. Someone is not riding. A person is riding. Reuven is riding, and let's say Reuven is not riding. Reuven is riding, and Reuven is not riding are two opposites. So the Chokrim say when it comes to Nisim and the floods from the Eibishter, the floods, the Eibishter can machen Nisim, v'chulu, is the Eibishter can machen gewaltige Nisim, aber machen azach, make something which is a dover v'hipuche mamish. What do you mean dover v'hipuche? Aber machen as Reuven is going to be riding and he's not going to be riding. Yes, it's going to be yes and no. This is what's called nimna hamnimnois. It's a mamish hafech. It does sagen die Chokrim dort, den Chokrim, das kann man nicht sagen auf den Eibishter. Was kann man das nicht sagen auf den Eibishter? But the tiny it is, your passage doesn't make sense. You want to say something about the Eibishter, say something which makes sense. You're contradicting yourself when you say Reichev ve'eino Reichev. The Mele is nicht da zusammen Sach. Dieselbe Sach, just for the sake of the Inyan, is Mizogan, this is black, and it's completely white. Wow. It's white, black and white. It's other Zogen, the Pashta Dugme is Midas Oren, eine Mine Mida. The Midas of the Oren wasn't Mine Midas, when Nimna Ham Nim Noise. Or the Eish, the Sneh and Nanu Uchel, all these Dugmois of Zadova Veipuche, is a Zach was his Pashta, we can't even teufes in the Gidre Ha Dimions von uns. It's not something we can't be teufes Bechlal. Like, so therefore, this inyanim so when you're telling me the Gilui and the Helem is not a stira, Gilui and Helem are two opposites. So telling me that the Eibishter by the Eibishter, there's no difference between Gilui and Helem. Says one thing is clear. By me, this Eibishter is Nelem Legambri. So if someone is going to tell me that this Eibishter is Niskala Bismana Golos, when I'm doing a mitzvah, is bei mir a dover poshet, the einzige Weg, it can be the Skalas von der Eibishter, ist behelem. Weil die ganze Metzies von Atzmus am Hus, der Metzies von der Eibishter, was ist Hech von Helem und Gilui, von mir ist a dover, von mir, von a Nivre, bei mir a Nivre ist a dover in Helem. The Mele, das ist die Keli, die Ameret wegen Hamshochas, wie Skalas HaAtzmus, Hamshochas, Skalas HaAtzmus, ist die Keli, Mitzad, die Nivre, die Keli, zu Hamshachas wie Gilui Atzmes is Dafka Behelem. Okay. Das ist Rebbe Masbe. The Mele, going back to the point, is that Rebbe bringt to Rois, as mit das, was bei Teire Mitzvahs, we do Teire Mitzvahs, we don't see the Gilui von der Eibishter. Verkehrt, das ist Dafka, Pisechel, zu sagen, to say that Hamshachas Atzmes, the Kima Mitzvah, the Sechel is Mechaib, zu sagen, sie darf sein Behelem. Gut, das ist der Wort. Noch dem Rebbe sagt, the zweite Nekuda. And this is zweite Nekuda, is the Iki Inyan of the Sikha. And this is the in which we're going to try to explain and bring out also in the Sikha Be'era. The word is also, the Rebbe says, good, mit Masbe gewähren, as the Helem is dafka a Keli for Gilui Hamshachas Ha'atzmos. Very good. What's it sein La'osid Love? La'osid Love, we're going to see the Eibishter Begolin. For what? We just now a Masbe Adi Keli for Hamshachas Ha'atzmus, for the Hamshach von der Eibishter is dafke the Helem. If we the Osid Love wird sein Begilui. In the word geht so. This is the Rebbe Masbe in the Sikha. Azay wie die Eibishter is Hecher von Helem Begilui. Muss man sagen, aber der Eibishter kann stehen bei Gilui, eure Klappe den Ivre. Wir können nicht sagen, der Eibishter muss bleiben in der Öffnung von Helem, weil er bis sicher bei uns kommt aus, als der Eibishter bleibt, da bleiben wir bei Helem. Also wird jetzt mal so gewesen. Das können wir nicht sagen. Hagamas bei uns in Seichel kommt aus, also können wir das nicht sagen, Klappe der Eibishter. Und bei Meil müssen wir sagen, aber der Eibishter kann sein bei Gilui, euch bei uns. Bei Meil, La'osid Love, that the Eibishter sein Begilui Eichet. This is the Rekud the Rebbe will bring out over here with the guy out going into the whole thing of the Sikha, from Teire Shmuel, the Inyan from Teinega Beide, Teinega Nivre, the Teinega Beide wird sein Begoli bei uns. Ha'atzmus wird sein Begoli bei uns. Jetzt, now this weiter, this also in the Sikha, that man versteht this word, when the Rebbe says, der Eibishter kann sein Begilui Eichet. Asmus kann sein Begilui Eichet. Was steht da? What are we saying over here? In other words, we're saying like this. Hamshachas Ha'atzmos is Eichet in Zman HaGolus. Aber in Zman HaGolus, der Hamshacha is Behelem. Meile in Zman HaGula, betzechuf Tanach Yiddish, der Hamshacha, was ist gewähnt Behelem in Zman HaGolus, wird sein Begilui Eichet. L'cheira, that is what the Rebbe is saying here. But that can nicht sein. That can be. Aber was kann das nicht sein? Weil, was ist das Wort? Das Wort ist, als Atzmus ist nicht mugder in die Inyan von Helem Begilui. Is if we're going to say, at the Chiddush when Moshiach is, at der Gilui, was sie gewinnt bei Helem, geht jetzt sein Begolei. What are we saying over here? Das, was sie früher gewinnt bei Helem, ist jetzt geworden Begolei. Das kann man nicht sagen. Weil bald als Atzmus ist nicht mugter in Helem Begilui. Weil am Recht als Atzmus soll sein Begolei, kann man nicht sagen, als früher das gewinnt bei Helem und jetzt ist es Begilui. Wir kennen war was, weil bei Atzmus steht nicht die Gelukken von Helem Begilui. Sagen, dass es früher bei Helem und jetzt geworden ein Chiddush, als der Helem geworden ein Gilui, ist das nicht ein Gilui von Atzmus, kann sein, es ist ein Gilui von Elokus, es ist eine Postosach, sie kann sein Gilui von Elokus, wo seine früher geworden bei Helem, jetzt bei Gilui. Ist einmal letten bei Gilui Elokus, beseder, früher geworden bei Helem, jetzt bei Gilui. Mir redt wegen Hiskalas Ha'atzmos, kann man nicht sagen. So kommen ja Moshiach, und mit seinem Atzmos Begolui, wird man nicht können sagen auf der Atzmos, als früher geworden bei Helem. Für was? Weil Atzmos ist nicht dort die Gelukken von Helem Begilui. Wenn Meile, mir redt wegen, soll sein Agile Lukus, es kann sein Agile Lukus bei Moshiach. Mit reden, die Ätzem soll sein Begolui. Wenn der Ätzem soll sein Begolui, kann nicht sein, der Ätzem im Auge gewinnt bei Helem. Wenn Meile wegen, wenn man redt wegen der Ätzem, kann nicht sein, als der Etze, als sie nicht chadisch geworden, als der Hamshochi geworden bei Gilui. Weil sie nicht chadisch geworden, ist es nicht der Etze. Sie dort die Gilui im Moshiach. Was besteht die Gilui? Als Friede gewinnt bei Helm. Und jetzt ist es begollet. Bis kommt die Moshiach. Was wird bestehen die Gilui? Die Gilui wird bestehen, Friede gewinnt bei Helm, jetzt ist es begollet. Das ist eine Sache, was ist Friede gewinnt bei Helm, und jetzt ist es begollet, ist nicht Atmos. Weil Atmos ist nicht stottig dort. Beim Melem muss man sagen. Aber der Hamshoch, die Iskalus, seine Moshiach, wir seine Iskalus, was sie ist keinem nicht gewinnt bei Helm. So, was meint, wenn wir kommen zu der Skala, wenn wir Moshiach, wird man chappen sich, dass es keinem nicht gewinnt bei Helm. Nicht, dass ich früher gewinnt, ist früher gewinnt bei Helm. Und jetzt ist es begonnen mit seiner Sache, was ist jetzt in der Skala geworden. Mit seiner Sache, was ist keinem nicht gewinnt bei Helm. Das sollte man sagen. Was kommt heute von dem? What comes out of this? When we're talking here in this Sicha, when the Rebbe is talking about, in this Skalas Ha'atzmus, Skalas Ha'atzmus in Zwana Golus, bei Helm, or Skalas Ha'atzmus with Goli, in Yemois HaMashiach, redt wegen two complete different inyonim in Skalas Ha'atzmus. There is a Skalas Ha'atzmus mitzad, the hashkofa, the way we Nivroim lernen Teire, lernen Chassidus. So wir haben Havona v'Hasoge, wir haben Hakore, we have a Hakore Mitzias Ha'atzmus. That's one union of a Hakore mit Iskalas Ha'atzmus. That is Iskalas Ha'atzmus with the Retzach and Zman HaGolus. That means Zman HaGolus, Retman, Iskalas Ha'atzmus, as it is in the Tfisa and Hakore of a Nivra. Noch dem Sido, Iskalas Ha'atzmus, wenn man redet mit Moshiach. But das ist ein ganzen anderen. Was ist der Chilik? By a Nivra, as we said, the Iyam von Helem Gilui is a Sach, was is Nelem for me. It's something which is above me. I can't grasp this Inyan, so seine Metzies, was bei Emid nicht doch Chilik von Helem bis Gilui. Bei Mela, is mitzad der Nivra, die Atzmes, die Keili zu Atzmes ist Helem. Was? Weil der Etzemein von Atzmus, der Etzemein am Musik von Atzmus, was ist Hech von Helem Gilui, ist aber schon bei Helem. Was wird sich ruft dann in Yemois HaMashiach? Ist dort die Worte sei. Wenn man sagt, als Atzmus is above Helem and Gilui, it doesn't only mean, let's take the example. We said Atzmus is above Helem and Gilui. Let's take another example. It's similar to what we said before. Saying that Atzmus is above Helem and Gilui is the same as saying black is the same as white. Yes is the same as no. Because you're talking about two opposites, and we're saying that there's no difference between them. So you can say there's no difference between Helem and Gilui. Say there's no difference between black and white. Or let's use an example. There's 1 and 1 equals 2. It's a fact of reality we all know. 1 and 1 equals 2. That's a fact. It can't be different. It has to, one, just like one, or just use another example. This is also, I think, from the Chokrim. You have a cause and effect, a sibba and a mesubav, right? The sibba has to be before the mesubav. You can't have the effect before you have the cause. You can't have the father being born after the son is already existing. The father is a cause, the son is an effect. So you can't have the effect, you can't have the cause becoming into existence after the effect. The cause has to be there before the effect. That's all, it's all forcible logic. So therefore, was it the Indian for Nimna Hamin Noise? Nimna Hamin Noise is just like we say, you the Helem, and there's no difference between the Helem and the Gilui. In the same way, it can be said that the 1 and 1, when Moshiach, we're going to have the Helem and the Gilui, there won't be any difference between Helem and the Gilui. The Eibishter, what is above Helem and Gilui, is going to be Begolui. And from that, based on the understanding, you can have also that your Moshiach can be the 1 and 1 will equal 3. 1 and 1 will equal 3. It'll be logic of that, and it's not only, it will be a fact. It'll be seichel, the nivra. The seichel, the nivra will come to understand that 1 and 1 will equal 3. If you can say that Helem and Gilui can go together, you can say that 1 and 1 can equal 3, and you can say that the Sibah should be after the Mesubah. And it's not only you can't say, if you take the Rebbe's Torah, the Rebbe's in Yonimah, the Rebbe's Masbeh, that is a get of your Moshiach Mashiach. That is a get of your Moshiach Mashiach, what the Rebbe is telling us to relate to today, not that we should give up on the logic of a nivra. It's the logic of a nivra, mefeirish, Helem Megillah, two opposites. 1 and 1 is equals 2 and not 3. Not only is it the logic of a nivra, the Torah recognizes the logic of a nivra. The Torah tells us to conduct our lives according to the logic of a nivra. So we have to give legitimacy. We have to consider in our avodah b'poel that 1 and 1 equals 2 and it doesn't equal 3, and etc., etc. All these regular rules of logic have to be addressed and considered for the value, their true value, because the Torah recognizes it. Nevertheless, in this context of recognizing the rules of logic as we know them, in Yemos HaMashiach, we're going to realize that behind these rules of logic, there is this factor that is above logic, which is going to be very evident then in Yemos HaMashiach, that 1 and 1, when the Ratzon of the Eibishter will equal 3, and it will make sense to us also. And this is part of the message the Rebbe is speaking to us today. The Rebbe is talking about the Gula, being in the base of Mikdash, Chis, Mason, Keherafine. All these things are not a matter of calculation. It's a matter above calculation. It's the inyan of Chibura Hopchem Be'etzem. It's the Chibura Hopchem Be'etzem, the inyan of Nimem Noise. So coming back to our point over here, when we say that in Yemos HaMashiach there would be the hiskal of atzmus of atzmus. What is the gather of atzmus, if we can say these words? That he's above Helem and Gilei. What does that mean? This hiskalus is a total, this hiskalus awareness of atzmus we're going to have then Yemos HaMashiach is going to be completely something different than the atzmus, hakoros atzmus, which we may have today. Because of hakoros atzmus we nivroim, with our logic may have today, would be that what? That where is the skalas ha'atzmus dafka in the hell? When then Yemos HaMashiach is going to be his skalas ha'atzmus, is going to be his skalas ha'atzmus, that what is above Helem Megillah is going to be begoli. What does that mean? It means that this inyan that there is by the Eibishter, that mitzidoi, there's no difference between Helem Megillah. Mitzidoi 1 and 1 can equal 3. This contradicts our logic. 1 and 1 equals 2. Helem is the opposite of Gilui. What is going to happen then in Yemos HaMashiach? That we're going to come to realize is our logic, even in the realm of our logic. Not only in the realm of Atmos. In the realm of Atmos, the Helem and Gilui go together by Atmos. That's not the Nakuda. The Nakuda is in Yemos HaMashiach. Even by us, with thine verstandig, Adi Helem can sein begiloi, 1 and 1 can equal 3, as I just said before. This is part of the void which the Rebbe is engaging us today to come to realize this is what's going really on behind everything, is going this inyan of hopchim, of chibura hopchim. And so this is something that we will realize then in Yemos HaMashiach. So therefore, that is the eskalas ha'atzmus of being Yemos HaMashiach, that the inyan of let's say 1 and 1 can equal 3, except to the Helem of the Gilui. The male of this is skalas ha'atzmus, as we can understand, is very distant from the skalas ha'atzmus that we were engaging now in Zman HaGolus, because in skalas ha'atzmus which we engaging now in Zman HaGolus has a specific description. Not that Atzmus himself has any description, but the way we can associate, we Nivroim can associate with Atzmus has a specific description. That what? That his Gilui is Behelem. What is going to be happening in Yemos HaMashiach? How is our association going to be with Atzmus? It's going to be Kapshutei B'dem, that will come to realize Yes, the Torah recognizes the metzius of our logic, and therefore we have to conduct ourselves with prayer according to the gidrei seichel of the human logic. We have to make a keli status, als b'derech hateva, etc., etc. Never within everything, we're going to come to realize how behind everything, what is really working, something which we today could realize, which once upon a time wasn't so recognizable. And today the Rebbe is telling us we can realize that what is working behind everything is the inyan of chibur ha'hopchim. And this is so. Therefore, in this sikh of Vayigash, the Rebbe is talking about this atzmus should be begole. Is this atzmus is going to be begole? Klape this atzmus, the atzmus which we appreciate and come to recognize now in Zman HaGolus is two different things completely. We can say the klape the atzmus is going to be in the skala Yemais Moshiach, which the Rebbe is telling us to relate to today also. The atzmus which we always related to in Zman HaGolus is b'chlon nish der inyan. That is b'chlon nish is two different inyanim, and therefore so this is so. This is an okuda which is brought out in the Sikha Vayigash. There is the Eskalas Ha'atzvus how it's in Zman HaGolus, which is Behelem. The Eskalas Ha'atzvus how it is B'Yemais Mashiach, which is going to be Begilui. And this is Eskalas Begilui Be'as. And this is Eskalas Ha'atzvus is going to be Begilui Be'as. If we're going to say it's going to be Begilui Be'as, that we could align with it, what does that mean? It's in ganz and a complete different Hakara and Atzvus. Hakara and Atzvus, which compared to it, the Hakara we had in Zman HaGolus is B'chlal Nish Kan Hakara and Ba'atzvus, we can say. So this is what the Rebbe brings out. Now, I see it's taking a bit long, and I don't want to keep it long, so I'm going to try to cut it down to the bottom as quickly as possible, and I hope it works. So Nukud is like this. Nukud is like this. In the Sikha of the Eiram, the Rebbe speaks about Zamin Nukuda. By the others is given the Shleimus Hakvona from the Dira. By the others, they had already accomplished the Dira B'Tachteinim. Mitzad the others, nicht that they individually, in their level, were worthy of the Gula. They in them, the Madrega that they stood. No, that is not the word. The word is Achi Shegiven Mitzad Avrom Avinu. Is Shegiven a Dira B'Tachteinim. Mitzad Avrom Avinu Shegiven a Dira B'Tachteinim. What's the Givendi? What was missing? What was missing? If the Dira B'Tachteinim by Avrom Avinu or by Yaakov, what was missing? The word Tazam. This is the word. There was nothing missing in the world. There was something missing in the Gavra. If you're talking about the Chefts of the world, there was a full Dira B'Tachteinim. One moment, let's explain why. There was a full Dira B'Tachteinim. We're talking about the Gavra, there was something missing. How can there be something missing in the Gavra? Avrom Avinu was the one who accomplished this Dira B'Tachteinim. Is the Kvon of the Eibishter is the Dira B'Tachteinim, when Avram finished, he finished complete Dira B'Tachteinim. Everything is ready. The Eibishter wanted that Avram has Einiklach. He's going to have Ura Einiklach. His Einiklach is going to be Yaakov. His by Yaakov will also be a Dira B'Tachteinim. He finished his love and he already had the Dira B'Tachteinim. He was ready. The world was ready mitzad Yaakov. Aber es ist eigentlich Shvatim. And by the Shvatim, and the Rebbe explains it many places, they were not on this level. And when they looked at the Shvatim, and then take the Deiros after the Shvatim, and then take the Deiros after that, etc., I will soon come. But then, Avram accomplished the Dira B'Tachteinim. How did Avram accomplish the Dira B'Tachteinim? The Rebbe explains in the Sikha. Because he had a bris milah. Al-Kusim Mitzis HaKashmi of the world. He brought down Al-Kusim Mitzis HaKashmi of the world with a bris. And then also he took Eliezer to make a shvua based on this bris. And then he also arranged for the shidduch of Yitzchak and Rivka. That's all setting up Klal Yisrael. So Mitzad Avram with his Aveda, die ganze Welt herum. There's a big world all around with Goyim. Who knows if they knew about the Eibishter or not? Who knows? Mitzad Avram, this didn't have a value. Why didn't it have a value? An example to this is the Rebbe has in in Tovshim Mem Zayin, the Rebbe in the Sikha of Sorah Batei's Pashas Vayechi, the Rebbe says, the Rebbe always quotes the Rambam, doing one mitzvah, Vetman, you can even carry the ganze Welt, bring the gula right away, one mitzvah. So the Rebbe explains there, the word is, Be'etzem al Piseichel, one, because of mitzvahs, Amshachas Atzmus, they made it with one mitzvah, the whole gula should have happened. It's one mitzvah. You're talking about Mamshach Atzmus Alain. A mitzvah is Atzmus. The Pele is, he does a mitzvah, you don't have the gula. So that's what the Rebbe says over there. The same thing is over here by Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu did his full Aveda mit the ganze Knack, mit the ganze Getras, the bris, v'chulu, v'chulu. There's a goy over there, I don't know about the Eibishter, there's a goy over there. It's not a big deal. It can be dealt with very quickly. It's very simply. Once he has, it will be dealt with very quickly. The example will be, let's just take the example from Matan Torah, which we want to discuss if we ever get to it. We want to discuss in a moment that Mitzad Moshe Rabbeinu, and the Sichem Ve'ed is going to explain. We're going to come, if we come to it. This Moshe Rabbeinu had the same thing what we're talking about. Avraham Avinu, that him with his bris, or Yaakov with his Aved and love, and he already had the whole Dira B'Tachtenim. Moshe Rabbeinu had the same thing with Matan Torah. The Eibishter gave the Torah, and Yidden started fulfilling the Torah. Mitzad Moshe Rabbeinu is the ganze Dira tzich schon aufgetan. And that is why, as it's brought in many, many places, the Rebbe brings it a very lot, as if Moshe Rabbeinu would have taken the Yidden into Eretz Yisrael, right away then we would have the Gula Mitzvah Hashem. But why? Because of Mitzad Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu Taka needed the Inyan of Matan Torah, and the Rebbe explains that this Sikh of the Era. He was not like the others who managed to fulfill the whole Dira without Matan Torah, but Moshe Rabbeinu managed to fulfill it with Matan Torah. So if he would have brought the Yidden into Eretz Yisrael, there would have been the Gula Mitzvah Hashem. Why? Because Mitzad Avram, Moshe Rabbeinu, he did this Aveda B'Tachlis Hashlemus, Aveda of Matan Torah B'Tachlis Hashlemus. No, how many years do you have to do the Aveda? 40 years wasn't enough, or whatever. 11 days, if it would have been, if Moshe Rabbeinu would have brought them in, it wouldn't have been 40 years. We did 11 days. We did the Aveda of Achad Asayom Mehar Cheref. I mean, he'll take them into Eretz Yisrael, but when the Gula, how long does it have to be? It says anyway it has to be 5,000 years, 3,000, 2,000 years, doesn't say. So by Moshe Rabbeinu does sich again the Dira. Eisen da ganze Welt, the kleine Welt was the Yembel gewähnt, the whole world was this Lochere. Das ist alles gar nicht, mit sich arbeiten, you know? Mit steht was der breiter Stell, wird sich arbeiten. Das ist mit Sad Ashkofa von der Ovis, mit Sad Ashkofa von Moshe Rabbeinu. As im sehr weniger had the Dira. Now, was ist the problem? The problem is mit bei der Ovis, mit die Bonim. Die Gseire von der Eibishter is, as the Ovis who aufgetan hat, B'Tachtenim. Amazing. The Eibishter wants, as Avraham has an Urenikel, that Urenikel mit dem, sind Stock in der B'Tachtenim. Gib a guck, it's a ganze Welt, was geht verkehrt. He didn't have the Stell, Avraham in his Stell, as die Welt, deal with it. He dealt with many things. He'll deal with the world also. By the Einiklech, it is nicht gewesen also. The Einiklech had the Inyan for Shibud Mitzrayim. The Rebbe explains by Yaakov Avinu, gewesen Mitzrayim. But when Mitzrayim was the best years. By Yaakov Avinu, the Inyan for Mitzrayim was on a stira. Aber by Yaakov's Kinder und Einiklech, ist gewesen a stira. But bald by Zeh is gewesen a stira. But mainly geworden a Shibud Poil. Dieselbe Sache. By Moshe Rabbeinu, the Rebbe explains this sicher. But the Gven, the obvious Aveda wasn't sufficient for Moshe Rabbeinu to say there is a Dira B'Tachtenim. He was not on the level of the obvious. This is how he explains it in the Sicha B'Beira. The obvious were Bab. They're the Shadish, as it says in the Sicha, the Shadish of Neshama Yisrael, as it's in Atmos. Moshe is the Inyan from Torah. But it's not the same thing, mamish. So therefore, by Moshe Rabbeinu, he was not by the level of the office. So when Moshe Rabbeinu felt, when did Moshe Rabbeinu feel he accomplished the whole Dira B'Tachtenim? He felt he accomplished it then after Matan Torah. The Nekuda was kommt heraus von dem. As mitzad the Gavra, if the Amiret wegen Dira B'Tachtenim, and we all know, anyone has a shaykhis. So the Rebbe Melech Moshiach knows as the world is a Metzias. I mean, we're not talking about Chalemus. We're talking about making this world poshet. With the Rebbe's Sichas in the early years, the Poshet mit haben Aveda, schwere Aveda, so sein nicht aber Yikra, aber Yakri, der Rebbe ist Aveda zu brechen, die alle, die ganze Rasch von Olam Hazeh ist a ganze Aveda, it's a real thing. So we know this very clearly. Von deswegen, coming here, coming here, these sichas, the Rebbe is telling us, in this sich of Eile Dugma, or the sich of Tov is Eichet be'etzen dieselbe Sache. As the Metzies from the Welt, we're talking about the Heft of the world, we're not ignoring this Heft of the world, this Meshugana Welt, is Tole Yafen Gavra. And that is the reason why the Rebbe is bringing out this Nakud of the office, by they given the Shleimus from the Dira, because it depends on the perspective of the Gavra. When the Gavra has a right perspective, the perspective of the office, so you did a bris, at Geton in Aveda, Avram Geton gefährlich in Aveda. He did a bris, when he did the bris, the Shleimus, is by Avram went close, there's a Dira. The same thing would be by Moshe Rabbeinu. No was, but Yidden was haben nicht gehabt, die Breitkeit, didn't have the Breitkeit of Avram Avinu. But them the Dira is a Stira. But may for them to accomplish the Dira, hebt sich an a ganze Aveda, bis der Aveda, was wir haben bis Manaseh. Bis wir haben dann bis Manaseh. Therefore, the Rebbe brings out this Nukute Benegea, unser Aveda heint. Unser Aveda heint ist schon noch die Oves, schon noch Moshe Rabbeinu. Aber was it's noch 1000 Jahre nach dem. So double borrower that we're not in the level of the office of Moshe Rabbeinu. Because had we been in that level, we wouldn't have to go through all these thousands of years when they already had the whole Dirba pale accomplished. So we're definitely not in the Medrega. But there's a naya word. Mit Shigaton die ganze Aveda. So this was once upon a time unique to the office, unique to Moshe Rabbeinu, or unique to Tzadikim Kayotze Behem. That but they given the Dira B'Shleimus mit Tzidom, the Dira was a B'Shleimus. This Inyan Hain darf man nicht sein kein Tzadik. You don't have to be a tzaddik for it. In those days, you had to be a Moshe Rabbeinu. You had to be a Ovis. The reason why the Rebbe is telling us this today, because today, if we open our eyes and we look at the effect of Teres Chassidus on the world, we look at the effect of the Rebbe on the world, how the Rebbe affects the Anhogas Ha'il and B'chulu B'chulu, without going into all the details, is Memela that this what is mitzad the Metzias und die Welt, nicht mitzad the Metzias und die Oves. Looking at the world, we'll see objectively at the world. You see what is affecting the Metzias of the world. What is affecting the existence of the world is Torah and mitzvahs. It's a koich of the Rebbe, koich Rabbeinu Nisenu. But mele this inyan from the Oves, that the Oves had this mile mitzad zere breakheit, because they had the gili of the Shomitz Yisrael as it's an Atzmus, as the Rebbe says in the Sikha Ba'era. This Maila today, the Rebbe says in Sikha Tov, is shaykh to everyone. The Yin of the Shomitz Yisrael as in Atzmus is shaykh to everyone, because you look at the world. The Rebbe had taught us how to look at the world. Vestuzen, as Teire, Mitzvahs, Bavig die Welt. The Maila, we will just open our eyes and take that attitude is b'maise achas, with one puller, which puller? The actual puller of opening our eyes, that is sufficient to am so sein in Yerushalayim, keherfein. Ich gehe den Nehmen Marino, Moshiach,